Hey, we are live. We decided to go right into it. Guys, our guest, Jack Brady, who Mark scheduled for us, is not able to make it tonight. Mark, I know you work with Jack a lot with KSR. We will definitely get him rescheduled, man.
Oh yeah, hoping to have Jack on soon. We actually just did a weekend in Berlin, New Jersey. Awesome, awesome time. Fifth year for me announcing that show, and all weekend long we had good racing. Brandon Darrow, Bad News. I mean, really, Berlin is the house that Bad News built. Brandon always, every year, is in the winner's circle at least one point, if not multiple times the whole weekend. This year, he took 5 out of 6 competitions on the weekend, which is, really cool. Stephen Thompson got the freestyle win on Sunday evening, the Father's Day show, and really just a lot of wild action. Hurricane Force broke the wheel off at one point. Crime Time, Brittany Ames doing the drive, and she put on a show Saturday night. Actually, broke the back end of the truck really heavily, destroyed the housing, 4-link tabs, shocks, drive shaft. Basically, if it's on the back of the truck and it could break, it broke. So a lot of wild action, a lot of great fans too. They were into it all weekend, and just always an enjoyable time. Plus, it wasn't 80 degrees for once; it was in the 60s. So it was perfect weather for monster trucks and announcing as well.
Yeah, definitely. And, those shows are always great. And I believe that was the show that a kind of retro design truck came out, Killer B, with the old school kind of look. Talk about that. When we've seen that truck recently run more of I believe it was a Ford body for a long time, now going back to a Dodge with the retro scheme. Talk about that.
So here's something too that you didn't mention, and a lot of fans may not know this. This is the 20th anniversary of Killer B this year.
Oh, wow.
So what happened? They were running the Raptor body in the first part of the year, and the first show that they did, well, not the first show, excuse me, I think the second show was in Manita, Virginia, at Wynn Vineyards at Smith Mountain Lake. I was announcing there. Fun show. I'll get to that in a bit. But Joe came out on Sunday and he had the Raptor body and he went to do a donut and he found the one rut in the ground that he didn't want to find. And the nice Raptor body met the lovely Virginia dirt. And it spun around, it wrecked the body. So, what they did is for the 20th anniversary, they went and said, "Hey, we got the original body, most of it. The front clip is a new front clip. I'll be fair, but they went and said, you know what? Let's put the original body back on the truck." So that is the original scheme. Part of it is the original body that the truck ran. It's actually a cool way to celebrate that 20th anniversary. I gotta say too, the scheme looks really good
Yeah.
on the blue chassis with the purple bead locks. It really pops, which kind of caught me off guard because I never thought it would look that good until I saw it. But really strong looking. And Joe, if you haven't seen Joe Jenkins run, I've had the chance to announce him since his first show at Miller Farms in 2021. Joe's really a solid driver, honestly. Knows how to put on a show and gets the truck in the hauler. So definitely a cool thing to see.
Well, also, guys, you don't see him here, but our good buddy Cheech, co-host Cheech, down in Gosh, he is currently getting ready for this upcoming weekend, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, around his hometown. He's originally from Wellsburg, West Virginia, but this is basically his hometown event. He is going to be piloting the brand new scheme for Raminator, the black and yellow Raminator. Also, if you didn't notice, there's a new other truck, Ramdemption, which I'll be seeing at World Finals along with the new Raminator. And cool thing is that, Mark, you are going to be down there for Neverlift Motorsports for Monsters and Megas announcing that event. Kind of a cool kind of thing, with the relationship all three of us have, back in the MTM2 days. It must be a cool full circle moment for you being able to announce a great friend of yours in Cheech.
Yeah, and I'll be honest. To me, it's mind blowing in a sense because when I was announcing MTM2, I mean, I never thought I'd be doing this professionally ever. I did it, I said when I was on here a while ago, I did it at the time thinking, okay, I'll do this and I'll, it'll never be a real life thing. So getting to do that, getting to announce Dan, I mean, that's just mind blowing to me. I think it'll be the first time that I've announced him in 15 years. So we'll see if I've learned anything since then. Maybe one or two things.
Oh, we got
So-
Mr. Wiki in the chat using, I believe, his daughter's account. So what's up, Wiki? Part of the PA posse there. And the Never Lift group, we had I forget the owner's name right now off the top of my head.
Ryan Hogan Camp.
Oh yes, we had Ryan on last year, and great guy to talk to. He loves the industry, and when they took over Monsters and Megas, from the Versus camp, it's cool to see them, bringing it to, Pittsburgh and other areas. I know my good buddy Brett Hackle, West Lab, if you're watching, Brett. Just random joke between me and my buddy. But it's cool to see what he's been doing in the sport and the lineups that he's been bringing. I know West Lab, he always brings the best trucks that you can always have at a show, and Pittsburgh is no exception. Talk about the lineup that Ryan's bringing to this event.
Oh yeah. So we've got, to start off, you got the Robbins brothers, Crazy Train and Plain Crazy. We know how the Robbins run. I mean, they're going to put those trucks on kill each and every pass out there. So, they're going for it. Then you also have to look Cliff in Virginia Giant.
Yes.
He's going to be there, and Virginia Giant, that truck's never lacked for horsepower in its entire career. And then Cliff, he's always someone you can never go and take your eyes off of because he can get you. Throw into, Steven Thompson, Hurricane Force. Steven's been doing great since he got that truck. He knows how to put on a show, keep the momentum up. So going to be rocking it. You got Colton Kaiser, High Roller 3. I mean, Colton, jeez. Colton is extremely good, is going to go out there. He's representing the high roller team great this year. So looking for big things out of him. And then you got the yellow and black Ram Attack Raminator, Dan Agosh, who's going to get on me for not saying black and yellow because I know it's Steelers colors. So you're welcome, Dan. So, but no, Dan, he wants to win. I mean, that's in essence a hometown show for him. He wants to get the win in that Raminator machine. So I'm looking forward to it. Plus, we got mega trains, and you got mega trucks like Freedom Express, Dave Zizza. You got Brad Kovacs and the Berserker truck. There are winners from last year, and they're back. Sarge, Adrenaline Junkie, and a lot more. I mean, it's going to be, a great show.
And oh, I lost you there.
The show last year, and I got hurt, and I had to be like, hey, I don't know if I'll be medically cleared in time, so I can't do it. I'm not going to ever go to a promoter and say I can do something when I can't. That's not good. That's not a good way to do things. Yeah. So I'm coming back here, and I'm, in my mind, I got to make it up to some people,
Well, another person just popped in the chat. Shout out to the Habbo. Habbo himself is here. What is going on, homie? Such a great dude. Positive for the industry. I love what he does. Hope to meet him someday. I know you guys got to interact at the Bigfoot Open House, which we will get to that shortly. But one cool thing, you see a lot of the teams, starting their summer tours, You see, Send It Motorsports, John Zimmer and his dad, John Sr., doing a lot of throwdown shows. You have the Robbins brothers doing shows. We're almost this upcoming weekend, we are 2 weeks away from the Monster Jam World Finals. So a lot of these guys are getting also prepared for that event, because that's going to be a whirlwind weekend because of how the format is for the event. You have the LCQ, you have everything going on. So I feel like a lot of these guys that are doing these summer shows on the weekends before World Finals are getting in some crucial testing time, because you want to show up to the World Finals as the late great Scott Hartsock said, you got to be cock, lock, ready to rock when you get to Salt Lake City. And I feel, like I said, a lot of these summer independent shows before World Finals, they're getting their trucks tuned up and ready for the biggest show of the year.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, getting everything set for the World Finals, getting all the parts and pieces ready. It's also a chance to, hypothetically speaking, if you're going to try something new to maybe get that competitive edge, it's a great time to try it. Like Brad, you're going to the World Finals, man. You were there last year. What is that atmosphere like?
So, last year was my very first World Finals ever I went to. Like, I remember when the first one was on pay-per-view, I was 9 years old, living about, I'd say, 15 minutes from where I live now, watching it on pay-per-view with my parents. When, like, during it said, like, I was overwhelmed last year, like with pit party and everything. I didn't get any autographs because I'm like, I'm at the freaking World Finals. Like, this is insane to me, right? Like, and I've said it before, there are certain events that I feel like every monster truck fan needs to go to. World Finals is one of them. Miami, Oklahoma, the Back to School Bash. There's so many events in this industry that are like must goes, and I feel like I don't care if you don't like Monster Jam. If you like Monster Jam, go to the World Finals at least once in your life. I don't like, even though it's not in Vegas anymore, it's still the Monster Jam World Finals. Like, it's still one of the biggest events of the year. And like, I remember last year when Zach Garner won racing, that stadium erupted. It was the loudest. Like, I lost my voice. Like, it was such a surreal experience. And I feel like with the layout that they've chosen this year, the racing layout, it's going to create some memorable moments. Last year before the World Finals, people were crapping on the track design, like, oh, the race is not going to be competitive, it's going to be horrible. It created the best racing we've had since Vegas, in my opinion. Freestyle, it lacked. I will be honest. The track layout really was a truck killer. This year, it doesn't look as much of a truck killer, but it's going to be interesting to see kind of what they're going to do. And I will say this as well: the format. Okay, people, the format is a very debated topic right now. Okay, I say let's give it a chance. That's all I'm saying. They're trying something new. They want to do something different to have more, to bring back the old school 2-day, mentality. Let's see how it goes. I'm going into it with an open mind. There's so many people that are boycotting the World Finals, saying it's a stupid choice. It's monster trucks. It's entertainment. It's fun. It's big, dumb trucks doing cool shit that we all love. So that's my opinion on the World Finals. I'm excited. I'm driving down. Like, I'm doing a big road trip. It's going to be a long trek. Like, the first total day of driving for me is going to be 13 hours. Like, I am ready for this. And I'm pumped, man.
Oh yeah, and you touched on the format, and I'm kind of in the same camp. I see the format on paper. If on paper am I thrilled at it? However, I'm the first to say, look, I'll give it a shot, and if it works, then I'll have my crow well done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and in the chat there, a couple of people are asking for the LCQ picks. LCQ, I'm going Devin Winfield. I love the Robbins brothers and Kohler, But my thing has to be Devin Winfield. You look at his track record this year, and just how epic how many racing wins, freestyle, two-wheel skills wins that he had. He's my choice. Devin Winfield is my choice to win the LCQ.
I think it's wide open, honestly, because so much happens at that show, and there's factors that we can't predict now. Weather, for instance, is just an example. So I'm not going to have a pick yet. I'm going to sit back and enjoy things and see how it all plays out. My main thing, I just want it to be a good show for the fans. Simple as that.
Oh, agreed. And I like the fact that they opened up qualifying back to the public. It brings back a little bit of Vegas days kind of special charm, and that includes the LCQ. So we get a teaser of what's going to be coming. The next 2 days, and I'm pumped. I know so many people are going to be there, and I hope that they fixed the food situation, because that was one of the biggest complaints of last year's pit party, was that there was like no food, no vendors for any food during the pit party. So I do hope that they fix that. I'm just excited. It's such a cool atmosphere. I know that Jackson Morris, the Australian guy that they run their Monster, I believe it's Monster Truck.
Monster Truck, yes.
They just got into the US recently. There's so many people. We're coming out with a cool I kind of started teasing it recently. We got something new coming out for World Finals that will be unveiled at World Finals. I'm excited to show it off. I'm going to be bringing some stickers with me, some Crush This stickers, monsters, and some Monster Truck Canucker stickers that I'm getting made. I love it. I wish I would have been able to go to the Vegas era of the World Finals, but it's the environment's going to be awesome. I'm excited, man. There's so many people I know that are going, and I'm blessed to be able to go. I never thought in a million years I'd be able to go to a World Finals, yet going to my second one. So I'm pumped. And then the next event for me to hopefully go to at some point is the Hall of Fame. That's the next thing, and hopefully I'll be able to make it at some point. So
yeah, and I'll just say this. If you've never been to the Hall of Fame, you got to go at least once. I think if I can go this year, it's going to be my 10th year straight of going. And I just remember the first year, Brad, that I went, where it was like meeting all these people, and it was overwhelming, to be honest. So if you get that chance, man, take it. Also, too, speaking of events that you got to go to, I got to say Bigfoot Open House. That was really cool to go to.
Well, yeah, we talked to Cheech last week. He was able to be there, and him and Levi Jones hustled back, or him and Levi, or was it him and Mankind hustled back from their display? And how was your experience at the open house? I know you got to do a little bit of announcing there with Habo, and how was your experience? Being the 50th anniversary and all the kind of special trucks that Terry Woodcock brought out. He brought a lot.
So first and foremost, I got to thank several friends of mine publicly. I'm not going to name names, but they'll get some credit here, because I've been back and forth on it, and because I'm kind of too financially minded for my own good sometimes, let's put it that way. I was like, I'll go and save the money, and then they kind of got me at the end. They kind of said, "Why don't you go anyway? Have fun." And flew into St. Louis, and going down there even the day before, got to see and talk with a bunch of people. Saw Terry bringing his stuff in, which was really neat to see. Got seeing I'm going to say the restored Bigfoot Zero, I guess you would call it. Bigfoot 1, not quite sure how that works with the lineage. Bigfoot 2, the Shuttle, the Ranger, all them. That was really sweet. And Saturday, get there, meeting a bunch of people, Ed Horman, Michelle Stauffer, who we had on here from General and Daddy's Girl, getting to meet Jason Rivas, tons of people. Had a few people who were like, yeah, I see your, when I was talking to them, like, yeah, I've seen your videos, which was humbling, to be honest. And then we talked about Habo. Awesome guy. We talked a little bit online before, and came up and start chatting. He starts, brings me on the stage. He asks me my favorite Bigfoot moments, so put me on the spot a little bit. And we start doing the second old school runs. He just turns to me and says, "You want to announce a run?" Sure. And then, okay, cool, that's neat. And brings it back up on stage. He hands me a mic and says, "Mark, you want to tag team the finale?" And at that moment, Dakota Army Armstrong, there was nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. So had a lot of fun. Great to work with him. Super, super awesome dude. Really, I know I've posted on Facebook, but truly grateful for that. Because just getting to announce there, even a little bit, was something I really couldn't have imagined, honestly and truly. So it was just awesome. Ran into a bunch of people I hadn't seen in a while. So it was one of those, it was the right call. And if you get a chance to go to Bigfoot Open House, go do it. Even if you just go one year, because there's so much history, and it shows not just the history of Bigfoot, but also the history of kind of monster trucks and where we've started from and where we are now. You see that whole evolution with the leaf sprung trucks, the stage ones, the stage twos, the Bigfoot Ranger, the fast tracks. So you really get to see all of it there. So really a great 50th anniversary birthday bash for Bigfoot. I'm not going to say that again.
Well, and I noticed a lot of my friends that are into the RC stuff, like Jeremy Bunting, Michael Letcher, so many of the California RC guys went down to the open house to do the RC racing. Our good buddy Josh Rhodes, Dig, was down there as well. Can't believe they let a Gravedigger fan in there. I just don't understand it.
Well, I got to throw in too. I can't believe I missed out on meeting Dig. We literally missed each other.
Yeah, I got to finally meet, and that's like one thing. I want to go back to onto the World Finals is it's so cool meeting so many people that I've talked to online for years, like Ryan Roberts, Levi Shones. Finally got to see Cheech again. Even some of the Feld higher ups came to say hi last year. Jamie Dalsing, Andrew Palachko came and said what's up last year at the World Finals. Like events like the World Finals, the open house, and so many. Like you get to meet people that you've talked to for years, and then you finally get to meet them in person and hang out, and I think that's such a cool thing. And it's, and like on the humbling part, like people, like when last year at World Finals and I was running the cruise show, like, hey, you're Bradford Crush this, how's it going? Like stuff like that is such a cool feeling, and like, especially for me, like I'm just a nobody from Northern Alberta, Canada, that luckily knows how to do graphic design somewhat decent and can blab his gums about monster trucks because of his autism. Okay. That's plain and simple, but it's such a cool thing. Like this industry, like it's for so many of us, like that started back playing video games. And I'll always come back to this on some of these episodes, but guys like Alex Pecorelli, me, Mark, Cheech, Josh Rhodes, so many other of these people that are in the industry now started playing video games over the internet and just doing stupid stuff. And now look at us. Like Cheech is driving this weekend. Like it's so cool to see that. Josh, great tech official, multi-time RC champion. Alex Pecorelli, one of the best tech officials in the industry. So many, like yourself, Mark, like you were announcing at the open house, like kicking ass. Like it's so cool to see people from what we used to do 10, 15 years ago being successful in the industry today. It's such a cool thing for me to see.
Well, it's also too like I'll talk on open house, but I want to mention something in Berlin too. So like open house, it didn't sink in like after I'd gotten off the mic for a little bit. Like I was legit like, did I just do that? I mean, for a guy from North Carolina who, was told you can't talk, you have a speech issue, or you should give up on your dreams, it's never going to happen. That really meant a lot. And then kind of to touch on it too, like when I was in Berlin on the Sunday show, we're doing intermission, and I just kind of took a second just to, I can't really explain it, but just to take it all in and kind of understand where I am and like, wow, you've come a long way. So that's something too. I think people, we talk about the journey. Sometimes you got to take that moment though. And Brad, I know you know this as well as anyone. Take it all in and be like, wow.
Oh yeah, like I remember so like, the competitions last year, like, two-wheel skills and high jump were just general admission, but when the main show of the world finals started, when the trucks hit the track for the power rush intros, I legitimately cried. Like I was crying because for me, that was a big moment, and I know that might sound that might make me seem soft, but I don't care. I love this stuff. I have a passion for monster trucks and motorsports ever since I was a little kid. And for me to be at the biggest event of the year was nuts for me. So I had to add that as well, because it's that, and then savoring that moment, of being like, man, I made it. I'm here. This is awesome. Now let's do it.
Oh yeah. I mean, sounds like for me personally, like when I met Army Armstrong for the first time, it was like meeting the voice of the monsters I grew up with. And then he was at open house, got to catch up with him, which was really cool. And Habo, because I know you're watching this, I know you'll agree when Army compliments you or says he's proud of you, I can't explain that feeling on here properly, but all I can say is even thinking about it makes me smile, which I'm trying to hide because I don't like smiling on camera too much. um, it means a lot. And then I mean this is where it's all going. I mean we're all trying to make it happen. So and then even too those little special moments, like Brad, you've at the world finals, that realization of this is where I've wanted to be. So it's all those little things, and it kind of goes back to my point of you got to take a minute to enjoy the ride sometimes, because and maybe this is going to sound weird coming from my own experience, like when I got hurt last year, when I was like, oh, the ride could be over, and which I really did think it was at the time for however long. That's kind of one thing I'd give anyone who wants to get into this industry is, if you can, take a moment and take it in for a second.
Oh, 100%. Like, no matter what event I go to, if it's a full-blown Monster Jam event or an independent show, Speedway, doesn't matter. I always take a moment. And my favorite moments for that is after the show, after the carnage has been done, after the insanity has been out on that track, just staring out into it and just the quietness. That's the moment that I always savor, because it's like, now we're going on to the next show, and especially if I'm working the show, I'll just walk around. I'll walk around the carnage and just kind of soak it all in. And, it's such a special thing. And, for a lot of us that are lifelong fans, and, it's such a cool thing, man.
Well, and it's also too like we talk about those of us who are lifelong fans. those of us who are doing that and are in the industry, we kind of have a chance to give back as well. So I'll throw a story in from a show I did in from the Manita, Virginia show at Wynn Vineyards. So I had a parent come up to me, and he had his son, and he was a professional like baseball announcer. And he had his son, and he said, "Look, my son really, wants to see me announce on the mic at this show." So we did an interview right there. I let him hype the crowd up and everything so his son could see it. And then even when I'm doing my countdown, my 10, 9, 8, driver start your engines, he's right by me. I'm calling him over like, come on, say it with me, right in front of his son. So it's those little things to give back to the fans and make those memories that we've been truly fortunate to have an experience. We've got that, for lack of that ability. That's the word I'm looking for, and it's weird when I think about it because being where I am, it's unbelievable to me.
Like I remember not like kind of a moment that made me realize like how blessed that we are to be in the position that we're in the industry. I remember I was just helping out Bill Payne's crew for a weekend, about an hour and a half away from me in a place called Dawson Creek, British Columbia. And I was helping with the ride truck. I was the guy on the ladder helping back, making sure the truck's backed up right to the ladder and stuff. And seeing all those happy kids come down, the ladder and how excited I'd be like, how was the ride? High five. Like, getting them excited. It made me realize that used to be me. I still remember the very first show I went to and how excited I was, and seeing those kids, it transported me right back to that moment. And the reason why I love this, even at 34 years old, I still love this stuff like I did when I was like 4 or 5. And it annoys my wife because how much I watch old school monster trucks. But I tell her it's my passion. I told her your passion is like Harry Potter. Your passion is what you do, but my passion is monster trucks. It's something that brings me joy. When I'm having a rough day, I'll put on monster trucks and immediately I'll be in a better mood because it just makes me happy. Seeing loud, obnoxious trucks doing badass slap wheelies because moonwalks suck, slap wheelies forever.
Well, to me, like even when I'm walking through a pit party, I'll go, if I talk with fans, I always try to say, hey, thank you for coming to the show.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, look, without the fans, we would not be doing this, period.
Exactly.
The fans are what drive this industry. And every time I say that, I truly, truly mean it because, we were there. You touched on it. It's the reason why when, one of the things I'll mention is, oh, so you want to drive monster trucks. This is how you can do it. One thing I'm noting now is, I always say the most important thing, don't let anyone tell you you can't do it. Follow your dreams. Keep pursuing it. Don't stop. So many people, that we know now have done it. Kevin Walicki, Chris Warnick, Habo, you, Dan, myself, Brandon Darrow. I mean, so many different people chased it. It's don't ever give up because if you want to be in this industry, you can make it happen. Period.
Oh,
that's a key thing.
Oh, exactly. And I've gotten lots of great advice. A guy that I love talking with, Don Frankish. Don's given me a lot of great advice. He let me drive his ride truck, and that was such a cool experience for me. I can say I've driven a monster truck, and knock that off the bucket list. And like it's cool for me, like seeing a lot of these newer designers coming up. Nathan Hills, he is killing it in the industry right now. He is head and shoulders above everybody else, and the quality of work that he's putting out. Ethan Saunders, Dungeon Designs, what he did with the newer Playing Crazy design. It's cool to see all these younger guys doing the graphic design stuff because for a long time there was not a lot of people. You had Jason Becker, Jason Brander, myself, Mike Arndt. So there was, just a couple of niche people doing monster truck designs. But to see a lot of these other kids, especially Nathan Hills, like I cannot put enough praise on that guy's work. What he's been able to do with the Overboard team, with the Loose Cannon team, with Bad Company, and what he did with the TMB stuff. It's incredible with what his skill set is. And even all these other people that are coming in the industry in different forms, announcing, crewing, driving. It's so cool to see that the monster truck industry is so alive and well. And even with new promotions, the Swansons have just announced their own promotion company. I love this industry. I've loved it ever since I was a kid, and I will continue to love it the same way. And this is what happens when you let an autistic person talk about his passions. Okay. I just will blab on and on and on.
Well, here's the thing though. All of us are in this industry because we love it and we're passionate about it. I mean, look, this industry is a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot less sleep than you probably should get 90% of the time. But we're doing it for the purpose of we love this industry and we want to see it. We want to see it outlive us. There's not a better way to put it.
Oh, exactly. And, you look at a lot of the teams that have sprouted up, Send It Motorsports already with 4 trucks, the Robbins brothers, what they've been doing. The monster truck industry is safe, and I'm excited to see where it's going to head in the future. And, again, this is what happens when, in the chat here, Sea Monster Freak says monster trucks are a niche enough industry that opportunities can be abundant so long as you're willing to commit. And that's the biggest thing. Like that's the reason, in a way, that's the reason why I chose the graphic design route, because of where I live. In Northern Canada, where I live, I want to say, let's go from Manitoba to British Columbia. I live in Alberta. There's not a lot of opportunity here. We only really technically have 2 teams here. We have the Crude Boys, Roughneck Crew Behavior, and Jed Barcroft with Sheer Insanity. That's all what we have here, right? And Don Frankish with his ride truck. So, we don't have a lot of opportunity. We don't have a lot of shows here. British Columbia, there's not really a team down there. Saskatchewan, you could kind of mesh it into Alberta too. But then the east coast of Canada, like Ontario, and for that, it's easier for shows to happen there because it's closer to the eastern United States. So I wanted to either crew or be a tech official. I just wanted to get my foot in the door because I knew what I wanted to do with my life, which is monster trucks. But because of my location, it was very tough. So that's why I chose the graphic design route. It was just easier for me for where I lived. And then Sea Monster Freak also says, plenty of people like the idea of being a monster truck driver, but aren't truly willing to put in the work. If you grind hard enough, you will get there. Cheech is a perfect example of that. Okay. 10 years ago, when we started this podcast, shortly after, Cheech had got hired by Feld, by Monster Jam, which we were still doing episodes, but it was kind of sporadic, because of stuff and everything like that. But you look at how long he's been grinding to get into the industry, to get his foot in the door, to start driving. And you have to make mistakes. Cheech has opened up about it. He's made mistakes, but you look at what he's doing now. This past weekend, doing a car crush. This upcoming weekend, racing basically in his hometown. If you put, and it's like Mark said, if you put your mind to it, you can do it. Like it's that simple. It's put your heart into it and you can achieve it.
Oh yeah, I mean, and put that commitment in. I mean, you talk about Cheech. I mean, he's been grinding it out for years, and Dan's getting some amazing opportunities now. You've always got to be willing to put that effort in, and put that effort in and be willing to go out there and do the absolute 100% best you can do all the time. It's not easy. If this industry, well, pardon my saying this, but if this industry was easy, everyone would be doing it, so to say.
Exactly. And, Lee Plato, this is a tough industry, and he is right, and it's cool to see Lee and his team and what they've been able to accomplish, from going from the Mini to one full size truck to another. And, it's cool to see what he's been able to do with him and his son. And we had Shane on a couple of years ago. Would love to have Shane on again. And another thing in this industry is you're going to make mistakes. Trust me, I've made mistakes business wise with Lee. Even I'll admit it. I screwed up. I let my personal life become too much of a problem with what I was going on with my mental health. I've made mistakes, with design stuff. I admit it. But even as a driver, announcer, crew guy, tech official, you're gonna make mistakes. Okay. But you can't let those mistakes eat you up. I let my mistakes eat me up. That's just how I am. I'm an overthinker. But I've learned how to move on from that and learn how to basically not look past it, but learn from it, right? And you've probably made mistakes as an announcer.
Oh yeah. So, and I'm the same way. Like as an MC, which is the term I like to call myself, I make those mistakes, and I'm one of those. Once I make the mistake, my mind goes. I'll be annoyed at myself, and that's okay. We're not going to do this again. No, let's learn from it, and let's never let this happen again. And there's a lot of adjustments. Sometimes those mistakes are expensive when you say buy gear that's brand new and you managed to break your mixer before a show. That was wonderful. And then the backup mixer was broken from the place you bought it from, which you didn't know. That was also wonderful. But you've got to learn from it and figure stuff out. I mean, look, I'm sure there are a lot of people in this industry would say you're always learning in it. There's always something new. There's always something different. And just use Lee as an example. His team's doing really, really well. Hope I get a chance to announce him one day. But I'm sure he'd even say it's a monster truck, and a lot of parts can always find a new way to do something they're not supposed to do very quickly.
Oh, exactly. Like I watch a lot of old school NHRA. My other passion besides monster trucks is NHRA drag racing. I'm a huge NHRA fan. And there's so many races that I've seen where people have like a 5-cent part ruined our day. That's going to happen. Parts are going to fail. Equipment's going to fail. Mics are going to fail. Computers are going to fail. But
Can I give you a story on
Go ahead, Mark.
Can I give you a story on the mic thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I did a show, and it was my mic system, my then wireless system. It worked fine. Everything had been great. Sound check was fine. Second I go to do the first show of the weekend, I have zero range on that thing whatsoever.
Oh,
it's completely gone. And we had to get through the weekend, and we did. Someone there basically said it was the equivalent of you get through intros and the truck develops an electrical miss. So we got through it, and then it was, okay, let's do our research. Let's improve. Let's get better gear and not throw the old gear a little too aggressively in the recycling bin. But that's another story. But that's what you got to do, though, is learn from those mistakes. Learn from those times when things fail or stuff doesn't, like you'll say something and it doesn't land quite the way you want it to on the mic. It's all those little experiences. And, this will be a weird thing to say probably, but speaking for myself, I've learned more sometimes from when things have gone south versus when things have gone great. because you'll learn those lessons and learn how to improve and learn, okay, try it this way, or okay, that thing was not worth the money I invested into it. So let's try this thing. You learn a lot from those, and it's monster trucks. You're always, one of my phrases for myself that I try to live by, both in monster trucks and in my day job, is if I'm not learning, I'm dead. Basically, you've always got to be learning. You've always got to be willing to at least try to push yourself forwards. You're gonna fall on your face. You're gonna go make mistakes. You're going to go and probably annoy some people, but you've got to keep moving forwards and learning and growing, because if you don't do that, whether it's monster trucks, real life, or anything, you're in trouble. You know?
Exactly. And like I learned that a lot the last 2 years of working on a 40-ton picker truck with my dad in the oil field industry here in Northern Canada. It's a dog eat dog world with that, learning how to rig up loads and make sure that they're not going to fall, and you choosing what slings are going to, lift the right way, where to be, where not to be. I learned a lot and I made a lot of mistakes, and I'm the kind of person, I hate to admit it, I'm the kind of person, if I make a mistake or anything, it doesn't matter if it's work related, relationship related, whatever, I will beat myself up to no end. It's just how I am. But what I learned, especially in the last 2 years working with my dad, is you can be mad at yourself, but take that mistake and learn from it. So you don't hopefully make that mistake the second time. I've learned that a lot with graphic design, going from, designing a truck in Adobe Photoshop, where when it was time to get the truck wrapped, all the files didn't work properly. It was the wrong size. So the other person had to redo the artwork in Illustrator, because I just didn't understand Adobe Illustrator. Now I do. Now I know Adobe Illustrator. But it's you're gonna make mistakes. It's a common thing.
Oh yeah. I mean, look, as I said, I've made mistakes on the mic. I would love to say I'm perfect, but my halo never came in the mail. Let's put it that way. So, but you've got to go, and again, especially as an announcer, if you mess it up, fix it. And like also too, there's stuff I did in the early years, like when I was doing this my first few shows, that I'm kind of looking at like, maybe that was a little too let's turn, maybe the volume level was a little too high on that, or like and some of that too was, a little bit being a little overexcited. And then as well, like stupid things you wouldn't think of, like drinking caffeine before a show, which is something I will not do now, actually, because it's really bad for your voice, turns out. So little things like that. In fact, that's actually something I'll tell other announcers. If you announce, do not drink caffeine on a show day, it'll kill your voice, and make it a lot harder for you.
Yeah, and I've been a member of my church music band, my church worship group for the last 16 years, and I've heard that plenty of times when it comes to singers. Don't have caffeine in the morning so you can sing better. Drink tea or something that's non-caffeinated, because the caffeine will ruin your voice. But as we wind down here, I think we didn't expect the chat to go the way it did, but I think it was important because there's so many people that want to get into the industry, and they need to hear the tough stuff, and the stuff that's going to help them in the long run. This is such a special industry, and I still want to see it go as long as it can, and this is a message to any driver, current or up and coming. More slap wheelies, please. Just more slap wheelies. I'm tired of moonwalks. Please just give me a nice badass bumper dragon slap wheelie. That's all I care about when I go to shows. I just want to see slap wheelies.
When I go to a show, I'll say this: when I go to a show, I'm there to go and make sure the fans have fun, and every show I do, I'll be the first to admit there's a little part of me that sits there and watches that and just goes, Mark became the person that 6-year-old Mark would have wanted to be. And that's pretty cool.
I agree with that. I remember teachers, telling me, "Oh, your doodles won't create some," because I was always drawing cars and monster trucks as a kid in class, and my teacher's like, "Stop drawing. It's not going to get you anywhere." Look at me now. Look at me now. I just,
definitely.
This industry is so special, and and let's keep it that way. It's such a cool. It's niche. It's a niche thing, but you know what? I don't care. It's something that I love, that I have a passion for, and I'm gonna have a passion. I hope to pass it on to my future kids whenever that time is. I can't wait for that moment where if I ever have a son, I take him to his first show and show him my passion. I just this is such a, like I said, such a special industry, and yeah.
Well, I'll paraphrase a Robin Williams quote. He's quoted as saying, "We're all born with a little spark of madness, and we must never lose it." Hey, I think Monster Truck Madness falls under that category of madness, right there. So, once you're passionate over this, look, is it going to drive you crazy? Yeah. Is it going to be rough? Yeah. Is it going to, are there times you're going to be like, this thing again? Oh yeah. But hey, you know what? You got to enjoy the ride while it lasts. And that's the main thing. And enjoy the ride, take it all in, make it happen, and dare I say, be the person that 6-year-old you would be looking at and saying, "You're in monster trucks? That's so cool."
Well, I'll tell you what else is a ride, being an Edmonton Oilers fan. I'm just saying that right now. Let's go Oilers. Please make something happen. But as of right now, our guest for next week is TBA. Cheech will let us know. And then I think on the July 1st, I don't know if we're going to be doing anything, because that's kind of close to when World Finals is, and there's going to be a lot of people traveling. So we might put something out. We might not. It might be a pre-recorded episode. Not too sure. We'll figure it out. Maybe do a World Finals preview show. Mark, thank you for coming on again. We will definitely have Jack rescheduled as well, and have him on and have you on again. Thank you for being a part of the team. It's always like I said, it's cool because you, me, and Cheech, we've all known each other for over 10 plus years, and it's really cool having you on board and doing these old school episodes, man.
Oh yeah, and hey, thank you guys for bringing me on this year. Admittedly, podcasting was not something I expected to be doing this year. That was Cheech's idea to bring me on, so blame him.
And guys, if you're around the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area this weekend, Never Lift Motorsports Monsters and Megas, go check that out. Go check out the sweet, sultry sounds of Mr. Mark Werner on the mic, Mr. Dan Agosh, ripping it up on the track, and in the black and yellow Raminator. Because I know he's a Steelers fan, and I bet he's really proud to bring those colors to that area, or as Mark says, the yellow and black.
Ram Attack. Yellow and black Ram Attack.
And guys, also one more thing, for as long as I can remember, I've always said this, guys, check out your friends and family. Mental health is a very important thing. If you're struggling or going through anything, please reach out to somebody. It could help save your life or save somebody else's life. Lord knows I had my struggles. I'm open about it. Things happen, and as long as you have some people by your side that have your back and support you, that's what matters. And we want you here on this earth. We love you guys, and we don't want to lose you. So again, reach out to somebody. There's so many programs and resources. Again, this is something that has always been near and dear to my heart. So that's why I always say it every episode. It's super important. Anything else you want to say, Mark, before we end her up here, bud?
Hey, you know what? Let's rock Pittsburgh, and let's have some fun. And also, you touched before I forget, you touched on that mental health awareness.
Yes.
Hey, I can't agree any more than I do with that. Look, feel free to talk if you're struggling to me. Make sure if try to get help if you need it. There's no shame in asking for it. And hey, we would rather be here with you than be here without you.
Exactly.
So make sure take care of yourself, take care of each other. And Brad, mind if I do the outro on this one?
Go ahead, buddy.
And that wraps it up here on Crush This. We thank y'all for taking time out of your schedules to go and watch us here tonight. Stay tuned. More episodes are on the way. But to conclude this one, we got up in Canada, Mr.
Bradshaw.
I've been Mark Werner, and we'll both see you next time.
And keep the rubber side down and the shiny side up, everybody.